Get up on my level. 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 Tongue is in a fight in public. Can't see you niggas. No feelings, ain't no bitch, I'm trusting. Can't see you niggas. Faces that she make disgusting. Can't see you niggas. Throwing dick inside her stomach. Can't see you niggas. Cause hurt cause I've been hurt before. Can't see you niggas. Love don't live here anymore. Can't see you niggas. Racks been on designer frames. Can't see you niggas. Rockin' shades to hide the pain. I can't see you niggas. Money ain't shit. Got it all day. Get it all day. Hoes y'all chase. Wanna fuck me? The things you niggas brag about ain't shit to me. I feel it's only right to say. You niggas need to get up on my level. 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 You niggas need to get up on my level. 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 Ain't square when the police took me. Can't see you niggas. Fresh to death in central booking. Can't see you niggas. Lick was for my team, I took it. Can't see you niggas. Not thinking they would play me pussy. I can't see you niggas. Talked about when I'm not looking. Like Stevie Wonder. Play with keys while making music. Like Stevie Wonder. Smiling bright throughout my struggle. Like Stevie Wonder. Rich as shit but can't see nothing. Just like Stevie Wonder. Money ain't shit. Got it all day. Get it all day. Hoes y'all chase. Wanna fuck me? The things you niggas brag about ain't shit to me. I feel it's only right to say. You niggas need to get up on my level. 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 You niggas need to get up on my level. 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 Going hard for him in the paint. Never had a real family. That nigga I called daddy. I never had a real daddy. They was already making music. I just added rap talent. Came out of prison pursuing my dream. Now everybody mad at me. I ain't never try to dish y'all. All I ever did was tell the truth. Pray every one of y'all artists make it. Don't do. I still salute. Got real niggas from New Orleans. All they do is clip corners. Made men don't make statements. You bigger than that, that's phony. Want every nigga that rap from Louisiana to make it. Medication and meditation and elevating the greatness. I'm not bothered by your diss. You was in your feelings. Gave you niggas my all and you mistreat your nigga. Nah, I can't see you nigga. Get up on my level. Love don't live here anymore. I can't see you nigga. Get up on my level. Love don't live here anymore. I can't see you niggas. Can't see you niggas. I can't see you niggas. I'ma come right back around and you'll get what you I can't see you niggas. And love don't live here anymore. I can't see you niggas. Karma comes right back around and you'll get what you did to me. You'll get what you did to me. Karma comes right back around and you'll get what you did to me. What you did to me. Karma comes right back around and you'll get what you did to me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, as always, Miguel Magallon. And as always, President, Founder, CEO of Magallon Entertainment. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast. And tonight, we're talking about stacking to the day we fucking die. Tonight, I'm going to talk about the importance of cost averaging. Tonight, I'm going to talk about the importance of entry points. Tonight, I'm going to talk about the impact of staying long-term, being long-term, keeping that focus, keeping that commitment, keeping that discipline. Tonight, I'm going to talk about long-term gains, long-term rewards. Tonight, I'm going to talk about future goals and the impact of having goals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stacking to the Day I Fucking Die. Let us begin. So, first and foremost, when we talk about long-term investment and investing in general, right? One of the things that I always tell you guys you have to introduce into your life is the concept of compound interest. And you're never really going to understand why investing for the long term and why investing at all is important, or how it can change your life and the future of your life and the future life of your children and your grandchildren and the rest of your family tree for generations to come. You're never going to understand why investing is so important and how it can change your entire future until you actually fully understand the power of compound interest. So as always, I'm attaching on tonight's clip a link to my favorite video on YouTube. And it's my favorite video by far because it's a video that honestly has changed my life for the rest of my life. You know, I always tell you that the second most important book I've ever read in my life, second only to the Bible, but the second most important book I've ever read in my life was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I read that book probably 1,000 times when I was in Afghanistan, first deployment, 2012, 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, Animal Companies, come get some. And I remember being in Afghanistan on that first deployment, just reading that book over and over and over again. And I can tell you, you know, every morning before I went on patrol, I read the book. When I came back from patrol, I read the book. At night, when I was on watch, I read the book. I can't possibly tell you how many times I read that book cover to cover. And it really changed my life. Like it is in many ways not just a foundation, but in many ways it's the template for what got me to where I am today and how I was able to retain focus all of these years that I've been investing in stocks, crypto, and Bitcoin. Because what the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad did for me, and again, you guys can buy this book on Amazon for like $10-15. For those of you guys who like audiobooks or just like learning things and just being able to listen to it, I believe you can download the audiobook for like $5-10, maybe like $5 cheaper. But I would encourage you to get both. Get the audiobook, get the physical book, doesn't matter. Just get that book. And if you're serious about reading that book and you're serious about long-term investing and you're serious about doing this for the long term, and again, not just generating personal wealth, but generating generational wealth that you can hand down to your kids and they can hand down to their kids and they can hand down to their kids, right? If you're talking about generational wealth, if you're talking about making money in the millions and millions and millions, and we're not just talking about 1, 2, or 3 million, we're not even talking about 20, 30, 40 million. We're talking about 100 mil, 200 mil, 300 mil. If that's the type of numbers you're talking about, if that's the type of mindset you're on, then you need to read that book. Because that book will change your entire fucking life. I swear to God, hand to God, on my mama. That book will change your entire fucking life. All you got to do is read it. You know, I do warn you, the first couple of chapters are a little bit dry. It's not an easy read. But once you get past the first couple of chapters and you start to get into like the nuances of how that man started investing in real estate, how he started taking advantage of like state tax laws, what type of corporations he was setting up, how he was setting up passive income, why he was thinking about passive income, what people had a big impact on his life and his financial journey towards financial independence and financial freedom, right? A land where he does what the fuck he wants, when the fuck he wants, because he writes his own fucking paycheck. Like, when you read that entire book cover to cover, that shit just changes you. It changes you as a man. It changes you as a person. It changes you as a human being. You know, I am telling you, the power of that book, if you take what he says to heart and you let it serenade in your soul and you just sit on that shit for a couple of weeks and months, and then you read the entire book again cover to cover, and then you just let that shit sit with you for a couple of days, weeks, and months, and then you read that book again cover to cover, and then again you let that shit sit with you and just rest right there inside you, I'm telling you, on God, I am telling you, that book will change everything about you. All you got to do is fucking read. It's not that hard. You just got to read. And I wouldn't be promoting the book because I'm getting fucking some kind of royalty off it. I'm recommending the book because I've read the book. I recommend stocks because I'm invested in the stocks. I recommend investing because I am investing. I recommend Bitcoin because I own Bitcoins. You see my point? I wouldn't tell you this shit unless I lived through this shit. So I'm telling you right now, the motherfucking general is certifying, verifying, validating, and telling you to get up off your fucking ass, go on Amazon, go on Google, I don't give a fuck how you do it, but get that book. If you're serious about long-term investing, if you're serious about compounding your money, if you're serious about changing your entire life moving forward, get the fucking book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I swear to God, that book will change your entire fucking life. All you have to do is read it. And so, that's where we start. And I'm telling you, I read that book hundreds of times now. Then, stage 2 of my financial journey, right? I got out the Marine Corps, and I always tell you guys this story, right? I got out the Marine Corps, and I decided, okay, you know what? I love the Marine Corps. It's cool. It's great. A lot of great friends. A lot of great memories. But I really want to make some fucking money. And I think that's one of the things that frustrated me about my first career in the Marine Corps. It wasn't what, we did or didn't do in the Marine Corps. It was just the frustration around feeling like I was busting my ass, giving everything I had, waking up at buttfuck 3 a.m. in the morning, going to sleep at fucking midnight, going through everything we went through, and me trying my fucking ass off, and then coming home and feeling like I don't have enough money to pay all the bills. Coming home and feeling like we might not have enough money to buy all the groceries we need. Coming home and fighting with my wife about money because we just don't make enough. Feeling that embarrassment of when we go out, we got to be careful on how much we spend. Feeling that self-embarrassment of every time we went out with friends to go eat, we would be looking at the menu and we'd be looking at how much things cost. And me and my wife wouldn't say anything to each other, but we knew, okay, we only have X amount of money, and we got to make it last until next paycheck. We got to make it last until the end of the month. Let me not get the $24 steak. Let me get the $15 basic meal. And it's only like a $10 difference, but when money's tight and you're hurting, that $10 is a big fucking thing. Feeling like I couldn't always go out when I wanted to go out. And even when I did go out, I had to be very conscious of where am I spending my money on. And because I'm so conscious about what I'm spending my money on, I can't really even enjoy the time out. I can't even enjoy going out because the entire time I'm just thinking about money. You know what I mean? That feeling around the holidays where I want to be able to get my wife this. I want to be able to get my kids this. I want to be able to give the family this, but I can't. Or if I do, I have to go get a loan. I have to go use the credit card. Or maybe there's something else that they'll like that it's just a little bit cheaper, but fuck it. Maybe they'll still like it just as much. Trying to do penny pinching here, penny pinching there. And then when you hit those rough spots, you're over here asking, unfortunately, for those of you guys who've been through it, you're here in your fucking 20s and you're still having to ask your parents for money. You're still having to ask your in-laws for help. You're still having to ask friends and family if they can give you a loan for 2 weeks. And don't worry, I'm going to pay you back. It's just, I got this thing and we're kind of tight right now. And if you haven't gone through shit like that, you probably don't understand what I'm saying. But those of you guys who have, you guys know how that fucking feels. It's embarrassing. It's like a disappointment in yourself. It makes you do a lot of reflecting. And if you're not careful, you can start to resent yourself. You can start to hate yourself. You can start going into depression because of it, if you let it. But when you go through it, it fucking sucks. It fucking hurts. It hurts bad as a motherfucker. You start to doubt yourself. You start to hate yourself. You start to hate your life. And I've been through that. I've been through that rabbit hole. I've been through that rabbit hole several times. especially, being young, being married, starting a family. You go through periods like that. You go through moments like that. You go through skits in life where you start to question yourself and you're not sure if you're doing the right thing. You're not sure if you're making the right decisions. You're not sure if you're on the right path. But you don't really know who else to ask. You don't really know who to talk to. You don't, like there's no guide, there's no template. Like in this situation, do that. In this situation, do this other thing. And then when you try to talk to family and friends about it, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Most of them don't even have their own fucking life together, let alone going to sit here and try to give you fucking life advice. Shit don't make no sense, right? But sometimes you do it and you listen to it because that's all you really got. And deep down inside, they're probably not giving you the best advice. They're just giving you the best that they can offer. But it's probably not what you really need to be doing. But when you don't really have anyone to talk to, and you don't really have anyone to lean on, when you don't really have that like social support, when you don't really have that mentor in life, sometimes you can feel lost as fuck. And that can be frustrating. That could be irritating. And at times, yes, that can be painful. And it was no different for me. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I decided I wanted to get a job that pays six figures. I wanted $100,000 a year. Back when $100,000 a year used to actually mean something. Now it's like, fuck. Now it's like $150,000 to be, you know what I mean? Like, it always feels like the fucking goalpost is moving. That's how life is sometimes. It's like a constant moving goalpost. Every time you feel like you take one step forward, it feels like the finish line took a mile back. And you're just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Is this race ever going to end? Trust me. I know. I've been there. I am there. And so I get out the Marine Corps, right? And I say, I want $100,000 a year, because that was kind of like the benchmark back then. That was like the status quo. That was like the marker. Like you make six figures a year. You making $100,000 a year. Shit, you made it. You making that good money. We always talk about it. Like there's a difference between making decent money and making good money. And then there's good money, then there's great money. You know what I mean? Like there's levels to this, right? And so I'm like, okay, I want $100,000 a year. I want that six-figure income because that's that good money right there. That's that shit where, you might not be a millionaire, but you can provide a good life for your family. You make six figures, you can make a good life for your family. You could have good cars. You can go out to eat at the nice restaurant. When you take your kids out, you don't always have to go straight to the dollar menu. When you're buying presents on Christmas and for birthdays and weddings and quinceañeras, you don't always have to be at Walmart. You don't always have to be at fucking, on the dollar site. Now all of a sudden you can get the nice shit on Amazon. Now all of a sudden you can get that custom made shit. With six-figure income, with that six-figure income, you could have a good life. You could have a good standard of living. Again, you might not be a millionaire, but you're closer to being a millionaire than you were before. And so that's what I wanted. That's what I was chasing. That's what I was pursuing. I wanted that six-figure income. I wanted that $120,000 a year. That's what I wanted. And I knew that's what I wanted. But again, as society always pressures us or makes us feel like it's the only option, I felt like the only way to get that type of income, the only way to reach that type of goal is to go to college. Because most of the people in society that do make six figures, outside of the fucking drug dealers and narco corridos and this and that, outside of those type of motherfuckers, like everyone that was making six figures was what? College educated people. It was people with degrees. And I said, you know what? That's what I got to go get then. If that's the template, if that's how I'm supposed to do this, quote unquote, that's how it's supposed to be, if that's the easiest way to get there, then that's what I'm going to do. And I remember telling myself when I got out the Marine Corps, I'm like, look, I survived boot camp, I survived infantry training, I survived Afghanistan, I survived combat deployments, I did this, I did that shit. If I can go through all of that shit, then I can definitely get through college, right? So I'm keeping that like military mentality, always aggressive, always fucking pursuing, always the hunter, never the hunted, right? And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna attack these goals, right? And I'm just going to be relentless with it. And that's what I did because I wanted that college degree. Wasn't enough to get the associates. Wasn't enough to get the bachelor's. I wanted the master's. I wanted the PhD. I wanted this. I wanted that. I wanted all the education I can get because I wanted to make sure I did everything fucking possible right here, right now, to set me up for success in the future. And that's what I chased. That's what I pursued. That was my path in life. And on this path, during this journey, I ran across a man that changed my life. And I've never met him in person. He's never met me. We don't know each other. But I came across his channel. I came across his book. I started listening to what he had to say. I started understanding his teachings. I started understanding his philosophy. And I started understanding his perspective. Listening to his way of life. Listening to what he really had to say. And after a while, I realized that he was fucking right. And that's when I came across a man by the name of Dave Ramsey. And that's the video I'm attaching to this clip. Dave Ramsey, I'm telling you guys right now, Dave Ramsey is a fucking hero. You know, I would argue that he's been just as important to me as a person and as an investor and as a father and a husband and as a person. He's been just as impactful as almost anyone else. You know, outside of God and my father and, you know, people like that, he's right up there. He's one of the top 10, maybe even top 5 most influential people in my life that have helped guide me to where I am today. Dave Ramsey is on that list. You know, if I have a Mount Rushmore, I'm telling you right now, 2 of the people on that mountain are going to be Robert Kiyosaki and Dave Ramsey. They might not be at the top of that mountain, but motherfucker, they're on that mountain. At least for me, they are. You know, and when I started listening to Dave Ramsey, and I started really listening to him start explaining compound interest, and I started listening to him explain like why it's important to get out of debt, why it's important to, you know what I mean, provide a good life for your family, why it's important to understand finances, why it's important to understand debts, why it's important to understand incomes. Like once I started understanding a lot of his teaching, a lot of his core principles, the more that continued to help mold me into the person, the investor, the leader that I am today. And Dave Ramsey, you know, he has thousands of videos on YouTube. But I'm going to tell you the one that really had a monumental impact on my life was his video explaining compound interest and the power of time relative to compound interest. And if you guys watch that video, I mean, you guys are going to watch it once or twice, but let me tell you guys, fuck that shit. I've probably watched that video over 30,000 times. And every time I watch it, I can just watch it again and again because it never gets old. To me, it doesn't. Because to me, it's not a fucking YouTube video. To me, it's a way of life. It's a way of living. It's a way of thinking. And I'm telling you guys right now, hand to God, like, if you do those 2 things right now, you can pause the clip and you guys can go on with your lives. And I guarantee you guys are going to become multimillionaires by the end of this decade. That's all you got to do. If you buy the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, pay your fucking $15, pay for it, right? Read the book cover to cover, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but you read that book cover to cover at least 10 different times, it'll change everything about you. Then you go and you watch this video of Dave Ramsey explaining compound interest. You watch it a couple 100 times, and again, you stop treating it like a YouTube video and you start treating it as a mindset. You start treating it as a way of life, a way of thinking. You start adopting that shit as a mentality. You start living that shit. No one will recognize you 5 years from now. You'll be a completely different human being 10 years from now. And that's all you have to do, just those 2 things. Because those 2 things I'm telling you right now Without those two things, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be who I am today. They have had that much of a monumental impact on my life. They really, really fucking have. And, when it comes to compound interest, guys, when you guys watch that video, I really want you guys to understand that it all comes down to time. The longer you do this, the longer you stay focused, the longer you stay committed, the longer you stay disciplined, the bigger your long-term gains are going to be. Because you guys are going to watch that clip and you're going to be like, oh, well, that first guy, he didn't start off with that much money, but holy fuck, look how much money he had by the end. And I'm going to say, yeah, that's true. He didn't really start with that much money, and he ended up finishing out with like millions and millions of dollars. That's true. But don't for 1 minute think like, oh, he got there overnight. Oh, he got there like in a month. Oh, he got there in less than a year. Oh, he got there in less than 12 months. Oh, he got there in like 3, 4, 5 years. No, that's not what fucking happened. Watch that video. Those two guys eventually became multi-millionaires. But they didn't get there overnight. They didn't get there in 2 weeks. They didn't get there in 3 weeks. They didn't get there in 6 months. They didn't get there in 12 months. They didn't get there in like 2, 3 years. It took a couple years. But when they got there, what do you think they told themselves? What do you think they actually said to themselves the moment they became multimillionaires? Because I can tell you, they told themselves two things. One, I wish I started sooner. And two, and maybe more importantly, I wish I was more aggressive when I first started. Because I would have got here a lot further if I had. I would have got here a lot sooner if I had. I would have got here a lot easier if I had. It's really that simple. And so, I leave you guys with this tonight. Long-term investing is what it means. It's long-term. I'm not here to tell you guys are going to become millionaires tonight. I'm not here to tell you guys are going to become millionaires tomorrow. I'm not telling you guys are going to become millionaires next week or next month. But what I am telling you is, if you don't take this shit seriously, and you don't start today, and you don't start pulling that fucking trigger as much as you can, as hard as you can, as often as you can, till the motherfucking clip is empty, every single fucking time you can, then you're never going to get there. And I know it. I know some of you guys are hurting. Some of you guys got a lot of bills. Some of you guys got a lot of debt. Some of you guys got a lot of shit on your plate right now. I get it. And that's why I always tell you, like for me, first couple of years when I started investing, man, I wasn't putting no fucking 30,000 a year, 20,000 a year, 15,000 a year. Fuck no. When I first started investing, honestly, I only had one goal. And I tell you guys this every time, but this was the only goal I had my first 5, 6 years in investing. The only goal I had was to max out my Roth IRA every single year. Every single year, that's all I wanted to do was max out my Roth IRA. And the reason that's so important to me is because I looked at all the people in my life who were older than me. I looked at my parents. I looked at my grandparents. I looked at my tios, my titi-tios. I looked at all the OGs that I looked up to when I was growing up. I looked at all the older, like, father figures, all the older men in my family and in my social circle, all the people that I looked up to as a kid. And then once I started becoming my own man, I started looking at them again, and I started realizing, you know what? I used to want to be like them so fucking bad. But now that I'm older, now that I realize shit, now that I see shit more clearly, now that I see the bigger picture, I realize I don't want to be like them at all. I want to be better. I want to accomplish more. I want to be more in life. And that's not a knock on them, because I still love all these people. They're my familia. But at the same time, I don't want to make them the status quo. Because what I'm here to do is not break the bar. I'm trying to raise the bar for the generations that come after me. So when I see where they are and I see where I want to be, I say, I know what I got to do to get there. I know the sacrifices I have to make. And I know it's going to be hard. I know there's going to be times where I'm just not going to have a lot of ammo that month to put into the stock market. I told you guys, my first 4, 5, 6 years, I didn't put no money into the stock market in December. I didn't put no money in the stock market for February. I didn't put no money in the stock market September. Because I knew, like, there was going to be months where I was going to have to spend a lot on Christmas gifts. There was going to be months I was going to have to spend a lot for the kids' birthdays. There was going to be months I was going to have to spend a lot because it's my anniversary, my wife's birthday, this, that, the second, the third, the fourth. There's always things that come up throughout the year, important things. And I understood that, and I said, you know what, this month, I got an important event coming up. I got an important birthday. I got an important anniversary. And I'm probably just going to put my money there instead of putting it in stocks this month. And that's fine. That's completely fine. Right? Do that. Cherish these moments while you still have them. Because your kids aren't going to be young forever. And the moments that you have with your family today won't last forever. You should always enjoy the time you have with them. And you should always enjoy the moments that you cherish with them. And you should always appreciate them while you still have them. So if you want to go out and celebrate with them for an important occasion, you want to go out and celebrate their life, you want to go out and celebrate your marriage, you want to go out and celebrate, you know what I mean, the importance of that day, by all means do it. Go all out when you do it and appreciate it for what it is. But what I don't want you guys to do is what a lot of other people do, where a lot of other people fuck up. And they all of a sudden mix up celebrating birthdays and anniversaries with going out with their friends, smoking out with their friends, drinking out with their friends, spending money on unnecessary shit they don't need, kicking it with people they don't even really like that much. So make sure if you're celebrating things, you're celebrating the important things. Cut back everything else. Cut the fat. Cut the bullshit. Cut the drama. Focus on what's important. Everything else, throw in the dumpster. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you can't buy every single month. You can't load the fucking clip every single month. You can't empty the chamber every single month. I get it. It's okay. If you have things that are coming up, if you got bills to pay, you got things to do, that's 100% okay. But just make sure that the months that you do have ammo, the months that you do have extra money, the months that you do have disposable income, when those checks come, when those paydays come, when that direct deposit hits your bank account, those are the moments you have to decide, are you going to do what's best for you over the next 5 years, or are you going to do what's best for you over the next 5 hours, 5 minutes, 5 days? You have to be disciplined in those moments. You have to be committed in those moments. You have to stay fucking focused on where you want to be and who you want to be. You have to remember the long-term mission. Because the more you slack off, the more you fuck up, the more you forget, the longer it's going to take you to get there. And you guys already know, time waits for no man. The clock is ticking. You guys are getting older. Time is passing by every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. And you're starting to notice the time keeps slipping away. Wrinkles, baggy eyes, back pain starts creeping up more and more. And you're starting to realize, fuck, I am getting older. Fuck, time is flying by. Fuck, I haven't really progressed as much as I should have by now. As much as I wanted to by now. Life starts to hit. The truth starts to hit. The facts start to show. Don't let these moments slip away. So the next time that payday comes, the next time that direct deposit hits, the next time you have that money in the account, if you don't have anything that's worth celebrating, that's important to remember, and that money's just sitting there, I want you guys to remember this moment. And I want you guys to remember what I've been teaching you and what I've been telling you. It's not about where you are today. It's not about where you were 5 years ago. It's about where you want to be 5 years from now. It's not about the old you. It's about the future you. It's not about where you've been. It's about where you're going. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know what to do. You guys know who you want to be. And you guys know what you have to sacrifice to get there on the path of financial freedom and financial independence. Ladies and gentlemen, never stop stacking. Never stop buying. Never stop pulling that motherfucking trigger. Because if you want to get to where you really want to be in life, you have to make the sacrifices required to get there. Life ain't easy. War isn't easy. But poverty fucking sucks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the one, the only, the motherfucking general. Hamagayon Entertainment!
Anything lost can be found again except for time wasted. A vision without action is merely a dream. It's the action, it's the grind, it's the hustle, it's the persistence. In the car while roaming around, all my thoughts been roaming around. Where I come from like a hole in the ground, feeling me still holding it down. Every car passed by with the music going loud while bumping, roaming around. Telling me to make a hit, but I really don't get why they walked on roaming around. Out my window, I see everything I dream about and wish I had. Started out my window, I see everything I dream about and wish I had. Ain't no sign of king, nothing, sleeping for a dream. I'm going to get it. Right, that's my true religion. Nothing, sleeping for a dream. Light skin and I fight good just like Muhammad Ali. Jab nasty, hook good just like Muhammad Ali. Right hand in my hand, talking cash, I'm a slave. Hold up, out the streets, stay in the streets, all I can do is be me. With Flow Rider, nothing in common, I'm not a B.O.B. Hold up, hustle hard and I'm hands-on, I'm a good guy that can transform. The time I ain't asked for, still sending mail through the hatch form. Different city within the city, more overcrowded than an ant farm. Look, don't try this at home. Out my window, I see everything I dream about and wish I had. Started out my window, I see everything I dream about and wish I had. Ain't no sign of king, nothing, sleeping for a dream. I'm going to get it. That's my true religion. Nothing, sleeping for a dream. I be loaded, thinking a condo. Just a product of a broken heart, but pray for just hope I don't choke what I'm smoking on, potent ocean grown, no cologne, not just rude. 2-time convicted felon, dumb shit. Yeah. Get at this Luca Bradley right here talking, you know I got them rings. I'm a shooter with a shooter. I ain't never pay for that. Shout out, Young Money wanna sign me. My rap jacket too violent. Bread 100 gang, that's Draco and mine. Out my window, I see everything I dream about and wish I had. Started out my window, I see everything I dream about and wish I had. left.